Well, I'm Clinton Griffiths. Well, if USDA predictions hold true, a massive U.S. corn crop is on the way. The agency releasing new supply demand numbers on Tuesday based on actual farmer surveys. Let's briefly run through them. Now, it's calling for a corn yield of a record 188.8 bushels to the acre. That's up 7.8 bushels over last month. And production of 16.7 billion bushels, another record. That's up 1 billion from last month. Now, for soybeans, it's predicting yields of 53.6 bushels an acre, up more than a bushel from last month, with production of 4.3 billion bushels, down 43 million. Checking ending stocks. We'll start with old crop corn, now at 1.3 billion bushels, down slightly from last month. Soybeans at 330 million, which is 20 million lower than July, and wheat in at 851 million. Now, when it comes to new stocks, a really big corn number here, 2.11 billion bushels. Soybeans are 20 million lower at 290 million, along with wheat. That's 21 million bushels lower than a month ago. AgDay's Michelle Rook has been digging into the report for us. And Michelle, that corn number came in well above trade predictions.
Yeah, Clinton, by over 4.5 bushels per acre, and that was a huge shock to the market. The 188.8 was also nearly 10 bushels above last year. But the other big surprise was USDA raised harvested acres, pushing corn ending stocks back over 2 billion bushels. Now, the report was more friendly for soybeans with a net decrease in carryout. But the key moving forward is this the biggest yield of the season? The August WASDE was record-setting as USDA pegged U.S. corn yield at 188.8 bushels per acre. That's up 7.8 bushels from July and 9.5 bushels from 2024. Production was also a record 16.7 billion bushels.
It's a shock. The total production number was up 1 billion bushels versus last month.
Most major corn production states saw record yields, with Iowa at 222 bushels, up 11 bushels from last year. Illinois was at 221, up 4 bushels. Minnesota was up 28 bushels. Indiana up 7, and Nebraska up 4. The double whammy was an increase in corn harvested acreage by 1.9 million based on FSA and NASS data, which Vaclavic says is a rare change in August.
And they used that data to come to this conclusion that planted corn acreage was in fact a couple million higher than what they had predicted or guessed in the past. So that's the one that surprised me.
That raised ending stocks over 2.1 billion bushels, but it would have been much worse if USDA hadn't raised usage to a record 16 billion bushels.
So we raised corn production by 1 billion bushels month over month, the estimate. We raised demand by about 500 million. It's going to be tough to get to those demand numbers.
However, corn yield was not based on surveys, but satellite imagery and farmer surveys. And Vaclavic says while he's not sure if this is the biggest yield of the season, he also points out the crop isn't in the bin yet.
Now, it's early, and we saw just last year USDA overstate the yield in August, so anything's possible. You know, there have been some weather issues. Some people might say rainfall's been excessive in some areas of the Corn Belt. Some people might say that nighttime temperatures have been too warm. There are absolutely issues that could come back to bite this crop. But for now, USDA is working with a very, very high production number.
USDA also estimated soybean yield at a record 53.6 bushels, up 1.1 from July and nearly 3 bushels over last year. But with the harvested acres lowered by 2.4 million, USDA lowered production 43 million bushels and ending stocks 20 million to 290.
It was a friendly-ish report. I mean, you're looking at a big yield number, 53.6, but you've got a carryout projection sub 300, stocks to use projection sub 7%. The crush demand number, I believe it's going to happen. It might be too low. Exports are the question mark on the demand side of the new crop balance sheet. We haven't sold anything to China yet.
Wheat production was nearly unchanged at 1.927 billion bushels, but with higher exports, carryout was lowered 21 million to 869 million bushels. I'm Michelle Rook reporting for AgDay.